Mr. Adams, Mr. Clay Adams at clayseviltwin.com. No, I'm just kidding. He says, I see so many creators laminating their lack of success on Kickstarter while simultaneously refusing to charge market prices because a comic should cost $5. If you don't charge what you need, you'll never make your money back. Yeah, so anyone who's charging, and Sam Quinton, I need you to listen. That's right. Bitcoin assassin. I'm talking to you, son. $5 for a comic book on Kickstarter? Unless if you're selling them by the thousands. And even people who can move them by the thousands on Kickstarter, I tell you right now, they're not selling them for $5. They just aren't. If you sell your book for $5 coming out of the gate as a new creator, congratulations, you're going in debt.
A little bit.
Okay? Let's say, on average, and let's go black and white. Let's take color right out of it, right? You're going to go black and white comic. You're not drawing it. It's probably going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000 for a couple covers and at least 24 pages of artwork, right? Give or take, depending on what kind of deals you're able to swing and the level of talent that you got. But, I can put together a black and white comic book for $3,000 to $4,000 pretty easily. Now, it costs money to print that comic. Comics Wellspring, which is what a lot of people use, is a minimum $2 and 20, maybe 30, 40 cents. Like their rates could have gone up by now. For a 24-page floppy in color, but still, okay? If you're charging $5 and the cost of printing is half of that, and your cost of shipping is even more than that, because now your cost of shipping is more than the comic book itself, right? Most people are paying in the U.S., I don't know, anywhere from $5 to $10 to ship around the U.S., maybe. Might even be a little bit more than that by now. I don't know. But I can tell you shipping to the U.S. from Canada is a minimum of $12. And that's for one little floppy. And if I add 2 or 3 floppies, that goes up now to about $15, $16 because it goes by weight. You would have to sell a lot of $5 comics, my friend, not even just to make a profit, but to break even. The reason why comic books on Kickstarter are not priced like Marvel and DC books is because the cost of production for the small guy is a lot larger than the cost of production for these giant corporations because they print in mass, okay? They print in the thousands and thousands of copies of their comics, while we, in most cases, do small runs of, if we're lucky, a couple of hundred. Some a little bit more, some a little less. What's your take, brother?
Well, since I do everything, my overhead costs are super low. Like, even if I count how much I paid to have my covers colored and also my variants done, I'm still like under $300 to produce one book, a 44-page book.
Right.
And it's costing me about $250 per book to get them printed at the very lowest level. So selling it for $5, like from here to into someone's hand, it is possible. I know you're supposed to do like 3 times the production cost. So if it's like $250 to print the book, you want to do it around like $7. I could do it at $5 and be making essentially double of what it costs to have the book printed. But if I start acting in any variants, like if I get a big name variant cover, well, then that's instantly my production cost goes up closer to $1,000, so
sure.
It seems to be a lot different because when in situations like that you're in, if you're paying $3,000 the lowest to $6,000 to get a book made, you have to make that up. I don't have to make that up because I'm doing the work myself, but it's at the same time though, there's also that weird thing where just because you charge low for something, people instantly think it's not worth anything. So there's
Yeah.
always that factor too. Because
Well, if you charge too high for something that people don't know about, they're not going to buy it either. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a mixed bag for me because I could do it, but at the same time, if the market's saying 10, then I can do 10. I could do 5 and still make money, but I'm not trying to live off this right now.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
on average, the lowest I've seen is 10. I mean, I know you and Sam are a little, different cats, but on the average, right? I think the lowest I've ever seen books go for were 10. I think now they probably leveled off at the cheapest at 12 to 15. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
just sort of goes up from there because now we're talking variants and gimmicks and whatnot. Guys, you got to understand, and by guys, I mean people out there in the chat, our loyal viewers watching, is that these are unique, boutique, niche, collectible items. Okay. If you want Nyobi for $5, we can do that, but you're waiting a little bit. You're waiting for those to arrive at your local comic book shop from Antarctic Press. And I encourage you to do that, to start ordering Nyobi to your local shops, okay? That's how you get our books for $5 because Antarctic Press prints a fairly large print run, considering all their titles, and they're able to do that much cheaper and distribute it far easier than I can. You know what I mean? But if you want the hot variants, if you want the story sooner, then Kickstarters were to come. You're paying a little extra, yes, but you're paying extra for, these variants. You're paying extra to get the book before it gets to the shelves, and you're paying a couple extra shekels to just make it happen in the first place. Like you're contributing to something more than just buying a comic book. You're helping build a dream, not only for me, but for everyone else that works with me, guys who are looking for work, looking to, break out in indie comics. I hire a lot of professionals, but I also hire a lot of guys and girls who are just starting to make their way, and having these gigs, whether it's for Nyobi or Atrocity Press or Sinopa. We hire a lot of people, right? In and out of this, freelancers. And for me, 100% of the case, I'm hiring freelancers. And so by supporting Nyobi on Kickstarter, you're also helping to support these freelancers because that allows us to raise money to give to them so they can do this beautiful work for us. And it keeps them, with food and money on their tables, provided that they can get enough work spread around with the various creators. And provided our Kickstarters are doing well, that we have the work to even give to them. So that's why, this is important. If your Kickstarter is $5 a book, and you have paid $6 to $7 grand, like I do, to make a comic book, and you're only getting, say, 200 to 300 backers, you're in big trouble. Okay, you're in big trouble. Unless if you got a pool of money you don't mind tapping into elsewhere, you're in trouble, right? A lot of people don't get past that stage because it's a common mistake. Here's the biggest common mistakes. I'll give you 3 of them. They underprice their book. Number 2, they overcharge on shipping. Number 3, they spend the money before their shit is produced and fucked up. Okay? Don't fall into any of these traps. Try and price your book fairly so it's affordable. And hey, if you want to go on the gamble and do $5 a book and you think that will bring in more people, by all means, give it a shot. But just understand, it's probably not going to work out the way you want it to, unless if you got something that is just groundbreaking. Just be careful on the pricing of your stuff. A lot of people are going to throw things at you like, you should be charging what the comic book guy shop is charging. $5 is more than enough for a comic. It is. Yeah, this guy here, Charlie Stickney, says, if you need to raise $5,000 and you're charging $5, you likely need to have at least 800 backers. Yeah, no shit. Most new creators, I'm making an educated guess here, as they don't have these stats, have an average in the 150 to 200 backer range. Established creators 2 to 500. Do math, set prices. I agree with that statement. I think that's pretty close to being accurate. So this guy here, Clay Adams, he's an actor, writer, sometimes cartoon. Red Christmas from Scout Comics. So he's a Scout Comics creator. Stokes the writer says, do you know how many $5 comics you have to sell to make back $3,000 for production costs? You know what I mean? And this all started because this guy asked the question, what is a fair price for your comics on Kickstarter? Conversation this morning got me thinking that this might be worth discussing. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into this. Print run, cost of art, cost of printing. Well, that's your print run, etc. So it'll be different for every creator. But there is a market value. So here's what I see in the range currently in terms of what is the standard. 10 to 24 page books, 10 to 14 bucks. 28 to 32, 14 to 18. 36 to 44, around 20 bucks. I mean, yes and no. I've seen all kinds of fluctuation. But now if you mostly shop in the direct market, these prices seem insane. But for Kickstarter, folks, these are averages. Yes, because you know when you're buying Kickstarter, you are paying more for something. Because again, this isn't just a fucking online comic book shop. It's a crowdfunding platform where you are pledging money, like a donation, to make a dream come true. The caveat is that you get a physical product or a digital product for your contribution in most cases. But it's still a donation. It's still a pledge. Okay? It's like giving to a GoFundMe because you believe in what that creator is doing so much that you're willing to part with some of your hard-earned shekels and give that to that creator so they can make that happen. And in return, the creator gives you a thank you gift. And while I'm doing my thread on Kickstarter pricing, I'll repeat what I said before. The books in the DM are, by that he means direct market, are too uniformly priced. If a big 2 book is $4, a tier 2 publisher should be $5, a tier 3 publisher should be $6, and most of the small publishers should be $8. Are you on fucking crack? You know what happens to Antarctic Press if fucking they were to raise all their books to $7.99 American? No one's going to buy them because they're too expensive. Okay, you have to understand that pricing is different when it comes to the direct market and some small creators' crowdfunded campaign. Okay? And you're not going to see these small publishers raise their prices unless they absolutely have to, because we already know that $4.99 is a lot when you're buying 7 comic books every fucking week. You know what I'm saying? Like you're spending $50, maybe you're coming home with 7 or 8 books. You should have a lot more. There is nothing that we would love more as creators to be able to lower prices and to be able to give these things away for $5 a piece. Trust me, I would love, if I had enough people coming in Nyobi and I knew it wouldn't put me in debt and we can make a couple of bucks doing it, I would do it. But this is 2024. We're suffering through a horrible economy. We don't know which way it's going to shift yet. People are still just sort of treading water, you know.
Yeah.
And if we price gouge any further, one of the big things that customers complain about is that the books are too high. These sticker prices are too goddamn high. So, no, that's a bad idea. He goes on to say, in those prices, the publishers need to get roughly with the same profit margin per issue sold. If tiered pricing was accepted in the direct market, and then the Kickstarter pricing wouldn't seem that high. So what, you're just trying to make an illusion? And it's not. It's what creators need to get the books made so they can continue to tell stories. Correct. And most people know that. When they buy a Kickstarter book, they understand that's going to cost a couple extra dollars. Okay, they most people in crowdfunding know this.